The school year is ending and education reform is beginning.
Once we're perfect, then we don't have to change that. But right now, we don't have nearly enough kids performing nearly as well as they're capable of.
Changes in the classroom mean changes in teaching the next generation of teachers.
We have specific requirements we have to meet in terms of how we prepare teachers and what kind of things we include in order to be able to get our teachers to be certified by the state.
The next steps in education reform. This is Arizona Week. This year's budget contained its share of cuts in education. But Republicans say they added money to classrooms and cut administration. Some educators call that just a numbers trick, and cuts are cuts. Kathy Prather runs the JTED program for the Sunnyside School District. Thank you so much for sitting down with us. Let's talk about JTED. In this latest budget, there are cuts to JTED and career and technical education. What does that mean long term for these programs?
Well, the year after next, we are expecting to see at least a 50% cut to the funding that supports these programs. So in the 2016-17 school year, 50% of the funding will be gone.
These programs, if you can a little bit, explain to people in case they don't really know what they are, why these programs are different than your normal high school classes and why they're important.
These programs include engineering, biotechnology, computerized manufacturing, 3D design, and these programs are the programs of the future. These are the programs that have been set up in response to workforce development. These are high tech, these are expensive, and these programs are critically important to the future of our state.
These just aren't programs that kids get into, though, so that when they graduate from high school, they go right into the workforce. Granted, a lot of kids do that, but not all of them. Some of them go on to community colleges, four-year universities, correct?
These programs actually do help prepare students to go on to college. These are high-level, high-tech, rigorous programs. They aren't what you might have recalled from previous vocational programs of the past. These are highly technical and are in response to the technical needs of workforce development in Arizona.
We were talking before we sat down in here, and you were relating the story of an engineering student here in southern Arizona who's in the JTED program through the Sunnyside Unified School District, who's being recruited by colleges and universities.
As well, and he is currently an intern at a local manufacturing company that specializes in aerospace, and he has actually developed a design for a bolt that is actually going into production and being put on airplanes. And so in addition to being recruited by higher ed, he's also being recruited by this aerospace firm and others as well.
And he designed that bolt while he was in high school. It's not like he was in college or out of school. He was a high school student who came up with a new design.
Absolutely. And in high school, as a senior, he was able to obtain his SolidWorks CSWA, which is an associate certification, as well as a CSWP professional certification. So he does have the skills and qualities, and that's why he's being so heavily recruited.
You said he obtained some professional certifications. Is that normal part of the curriculum with the JTED and CTE, that the kids, if appropriate and they can pass, can get actual professional certifications?
Absolutely. These are nationally and internationally recognized certifications, and they are part of all of these programs. We have SolidWorks, we have NIMS, which is for metalworking and precision machining, and so many of the CTE JTED programs do offer industry certifications. And in our district alone, in the Sunnyside Unified School District, we have hundreds of students that have obtained these certifications this year from Microsoft and NIMS and SolidWorks and many others.
Let's talk about what everybody always likes to talk about, retention and graduation rates. Do these programs help keep kids in school?
Absolutely. The data shows that these programs graduate 98% of the students. So these programs increase the graduation rate, they reduce the dropout rate. And also, these programs have been shown to increase the persistence rate of these students completing higher ed degrees and certificates.
So it really runs down the road once they get out of school. If they go on to a community college, a four-year university, they're more likely to stay.
Absolutely, and be successful and complete their degree.
The cuts you said are coming not this coming school year, since we're wrapping up, much to the happiness of the students, the
Yes.
current one. They don't come in the fall, they come further down the road. Is there planning in the works now, or is it a cross your fingers and hope the money comes back before the cuts come in?
That's a great question, because right now we are beginning to strategize and look at what we need to do to try to carry over enough funds to have these programs survive in the 2016-17 school year. So in our school district, Sunnyside District, we have cut 3 programs already in anticipation. It is a strategy because we do need some of these programs to survive. But in the long run, after a couple of years, if these cuts are not reversed, many of these programs, if not all of these programs, will be gone in several years.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask. What's the future look like? Do JTED programs get money from industry also, and is that somewhere you can turn, or do you really need those state dollars?
We do receive support from industry in donations, but it's nowhere near what we would need to sustain these programs. So it does help. We are receiving responses from industry for these programs, but it's not enough.
And we were talking also earlier about some of the expenses for your average classroom teacher. We all know what your average classroom looks like, but the JTED and CTE classrooms have big pieces of expensive equipment that obviously have to be bought and kept up to date so these kids can get out and get in the workforce or into the higher level university classes.
Absolutely. These are expensive programs. They are a great return on investment, though. To have students go out and go on to college or go into the workforce with skills in 3D printing, CNC, manufacturing, design, it's really critically important that they have access to the higher technology, the latest technology, the cutting edge technology, if Arizona wants to stay competitive with its workforce.
How many kids are taking part in this statewide?
Statewide, 90,000 students are involved in these programs. These cuts are really targeted to the satellite programs at the public high schools. And so of those 90,000, 90% of those students take their coursework at the high schools. And these are the programs that are being threatened with a 50% cut in funding in 16-17.
All right, well, thanks for coming in and explaining to us about the JTED and CTE programs.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here.